equipment.
All right, here we go. So, as you see here, you have two pumps. This one's going to be your main circulation pump. That's going to do your spa. That's going to do the filtration. And the only thing your feature pump here is going to do, of course, is the water flows. All four of them are controlled independently as you turn each valve. I believe the small ones are on that side and the large ones are on this side, so you can adjust them if you want just two of them on for any reason. This you won't have to mess with. This is just, it turned down the flow so it was a little bit quieter. It put a little back pressure here. Your main circulation pump, you will see that it has a drive on the back, but you won't ever use it. It says display not active. You don't need to. I will show you the times that you can. These here that you'll see are actuators. These two, what they'll do is when you hit spa mode, they'll turn and the valves will come on for your spa. As you can see with these handles, they all have what's marked off, so whatever the handle is pointing at is what's on. They're all labeled. So now when you turn this, to turn the bubbler on, it's going to open that up. Now, as you can see, like some of them are in percentages. This is like a 60-40, 60 to the pool. Just so you know, if you ever want to turn the spa up or you want to turn the cleaner on or anything like that, which way the handles are facing.
Someone took the handle
right off. We had to
off.
cut that one off because it won't fit every time. So you can. We had it taken off, but that way, if you ever want to turn it, you want to turn the spa up, you want to turn the spa down.
So it's easy enough to turn.
They're very easy to turn. You're not going to really mess with much over here because they're kind of preset, and these are done by the automation. Over here, you'll end up using it more. This one here, where it says cleaner, that is in the side of the wall. I'll show you where the cleaner is. That's a suction line. Whether you guys want to do it with a little vacuum with a hose, or if you end up getting one of the little ones that goes around the bottom of the pool, that's where that's going to plug in. So if you were to put one of those in, you would simply just turn the hand valve from here over to there, and then I'll show you how to do it because you'll adjust a little bit more. But you want to turn the main drain down when you do that and open the cleaner, and you'll be able to adjust it, and you'll see, okay, it's sucking really hard, I can't even move it, or it's not picking up anything. If you do get a vacuum that goes on the bottom of the pool, like an automatic one, we recommend turning the main drain all the way to off and splitting your suction between the cleaner and the skimmer. Your main drain and your cleaner both clean the bottom of the pool. The skimmer cleans the top of the pool. So if you have a cleaner in, you don't need to use the main drain. You can turn it all the way off.
Main drain is the 4 on the bottom.
The 4 on the bottom. 2 are for here and 2 are for here.
Oh.
Yeah, each one has to have 2 for a suction. The 2 closest to the house are this one. The 2 farthest from the house are this one. The reason you need to know that is if you're brushing the pool, say there's a little bit of sand in the pool, you're going to want to brush it into these ones. That way it goes through the filter. If you brush it into those ones, it'll just spew right back out of the waterfall and you'll see it.
Okay, so closest to the house, furthest from the house. Okay.
This is your blower. This makes your bubbles in the spot.
Is this the one that's going to be changed out?
They're going to put a big one on.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, to push some more air through there. Your filter's here. Your heater, this also. This is your panel here. I'm going to turn it off so I can show you a couple things. So in your panel here, if you ever want to turn it off, there's a couple ways. If you're the only one home, we tell people just put it in service. If there's other people here, flip the breaker off, because if they hit the remote inside and they don't know that you're doing something, it'll shoot water all up at you. So what you can do all the time is mode is right here. You have auto, service, and timeout. It's going to be an auto most of the time. You press mode, it'll go to service. That'll turn everything off. None of the remotes will work. It's shut down so that you can do anything. What we recommend is if you press it one more time, and it'll tell you a little explanation, to timeout. That's the same thing. Nobody can use it as a remote, but timeout, if you happen to forget, in 3 hours it'll automatically come back on, so it doesn't stay off for days, if you don't remember to come turn it on. So that will shut everything off. Now, everything can be controlled independently from here in service, not the remote. So if you want to turn the lights on, or even if we want to turn the waterfall on, you can do it from here, just nowhere else. So that will always turn your pump off when you put it in timeout or service. So now I'll show you how to open the filter. Okay. That is one of the reasons that you'll turn it off. Once it's off, there's a valve here. You'll hear it. That'll release the pressure. There's 2 little spring-loaded clips underneath here. Pull both of those up, and it'll unlock. this all the way off. Once you let the pressure go, the longer you let it purge the system, the easier the lid is to take off. That's the only thing it'll do. You'll get a little bit of suction there. Pop that off. There's your filter. I'll wash it today before I leave. Looks like it needs to be washed again.
How often do you wash it?
With you guys being at the homeowners, I would recommend if it was at my house once a month. You don't have to do it that often. If you have animals or you have a party in it, then you want to wash it a little more often. On here, there is a gauge that shows you where the pressure should start. And then once you notice it get to there, pull it off, clean the filter. Now, it may not get there in a month or two. It's just best for the longevity of the filter to let it wash. Because what happens is it'll get impact to where when you clean it, it still comes to here on the pressure. And that's how you know that it's time to replace the filter. We usually recommend them once a month. You get them on Amazon. It's the same quality ones, nothing wrong with it. And then you can just put, it actually has the number. This brand here is the one they sell on Amazon. Unicel, it doesn't say it on there, but if you put in the Clean and Clear 200 is the name of this, okay, it will, it'll pop red.
So you said how often do you have to replace the filter?
Once a year.
Once a year, okay.
Sometimes longer. There's a couple things you can tell when it needs to be replaced. So to take it out, put 2 fingers here, 2 fingers here, and push down and it will pop up. Oh. Okay. There's 2 things to know how it needs to be replaced. These bands here are designed to break over a certain amount of time, and that's how you know that they start to break down. Also, the filter will kind of do that, and it'll start to collapse on itself without you touching it. It'll fall over, it won't stand up. Those are pretty good signs that it needs to be replaced. Okay. I'm going to leave this out. So, but when you're done washing it, just take a water hose. You don't need any chemicals, and just spray it out with a water hose as best you can. Also take a hose once in a while and just rinse down in there. You'll get sand that'll settle in there. So once you're done washing it, there is an O-ring here. If for any reason it's hard to go on, most of the time they're fine. You can use any kind of lube. I tell people all the time, you can use olive oil, vegetable oil. It's usually something more often than you have pool lubricant around. You can also, up under here, non-dish soap, but if you do it, put 1 drop on your finger, run it around there, or else you'll have bubbles in your pool. Okay. To put it back on, just set it down. Leave this open because that'll let you push it on there a little bit easier. Push it down there. Once you can kind of see once it's all flat. We'll put this back on. It'll click in. Then you close the valve. You can fire everything back up. By just pressing mode, it'll go back into auto. It'll come on. Now I want to show you one thing. Once we do that, we put it in auto. It's going to click back on. When this fires up, because there's no water in here anymore, you'll have to purge the air out of it. I shouldn't say you have to. We like to. It's better for the equipment. If not, bubbles will get stuck in here halfway. It'll be half air, half water, and so it'll only be halfway filtrating the pump. It'll eventually push them out of the waterfalls and whatever's closest. But as it comes back on, if you just open it just ever so slowly, because it will.
I'm glad I wasn't standing over there.
You turn it off. That'll purge it all out. Everything will be good.
So is this what you're pressing this in?
Nope, you don't have to press it at all.
Oh, you just turn it.
All you have to do is twist it. Yeah.
Okay.
So let's set this. Well, we're going to leave it because this is with no filter in it. So, the other thing, the salt cell. While we're at the equipment, we'll show you the salt cell. So you'll turn the pull off. These little rings, you can just untwist them with your hand. They're not hard to do. You only have to hand tighten them back. There is a little O-ring in there. Again, it needs lube, olive oil, vegetable oil, anything like that. Once in a while, we'll do that. With the salt cell, we recommend every 90 days, every 3 months. It's not going to tell you when to clean it, or anything like that. You just have to kind of remember, every few times you come out and wash the filter, clean the salt cell. That is the one part that with homeowners we definitely tell you to be very careful. Because when you clean it, what you can do is get a bucket, 5 gallon, 3 gallon, just an empty bucket. Fill it up about 3/4 of the way with pool water. And you're going to get muriatic acid. You can get it at Lowe's, Home Depot, Ace, and Pool Store. You're going to pour about a 1/2 gallon in there, and then you're going to set the cell down in it. And the it's going to bubble. It'll take a few minutes to see it bubble, and then you're going to want to pull this up out. If you have gloves, wear gloves. Pull this up out, rinse it down with a hose. Just have a hose there ready, rinse the inside, the outside, and then that bucket with having acid, you can just dump it right back in the bucket. Not going to hurt anything. The acid will.
Okay, so you take the bucket, you fill it with 3/4 of the way with pool water, and then
just
how much
enough
of the
water
acid?
to cover the cell, about a half a gallon.
Is that like standing up straight like that?
You can set it down so that the water submerges the whole thing and runs through it. So there is another way to do it, and I'll explain if you want to do it. If you go online, Pentair sells a base for this. It screws onto it, and you stand the cell up right here. And then what that's designed to do is just pour acid, put just a couple seconds of water. You can tell how far the cell is, fill it about halfway up, and then put maybe a 1/4 gallon of acid in. That's the way we do it. They don't always recommend people to do it because you have to use acid, And one thing I tell people with muriatic acid, as long as you have a water hose, rinse it down. It's not going to hurt anything as long as you rinse it down with water right afterwards. On here, it's not going to hurt the dirt. So there's 2 ways to do it. You can order the little stand. It's not very expensive. It screws on the bottom. It's got a little O-ring that sits nice and flat. Pour your acid in with always water before acid so it doesn't splash on you. It'll dilute as soon as it gets the water. It'll bubble. You can wash it, pour it out, rinse it out, put it back on. There's lots of videos on YouTube that show you how to do that. Pentair has them. So
and that you do every 3 months.
3 months. Now, if you notice for some reason that it's not producing chlorine, take it off and take a look at it. Every once in a while, blades of grass will get stuck in there, and you just got to rinse it out with a hose and screw it back down.
It's very uncommon that that happens. So they're the most reliable, easy to use systems.
And there's nothing on here to tell us.
To clean it, no.
Okay. So what are these lights
So
for?
this light here will tell you whether the salt level is good or low. This will flash if the salt level is too high.
Oh,
So
okay.
it tells you here, it sets at 3,000. If it goes below that, it will say low. In red, you will add salt. If this flashes, it's high. At that point, you would just drain a little bit of water with a hose, add some fresh water, and bring the salt level down to where it is. I will show you over there how to check the actual salt level, where you check the chemicals. None of this is going to be used because it's all controlled by your panel and your remote. It kind of takes control of it. If you didn't have automation, you could press it. This one, if the water goes under a certain temperature, it's really low, like under 60 degrees. So it's very rare that your pool water is going to get under 60 degrees, but they're not designed to work under that temperature. So that light would go on there. Your flow light, if that's for some reason red, it's either 1, your filter is clogged up, or 2, your pump is not running. So when you see that light, you usually know it comes from or the filter would have to be, it has to be extremely dirty for that to happen. So that's pretty unlikely. And then these bottom ones just show you, like he turned up the chlorine to 80%, it shows you the output levels. Yeah, 20% increase. But you can actually do it in 5, because in spa mode, we're going to set to 5%. Because as you can imagine, if you put as much chlorine into the pool, into that little tiny spa for an hour, you would pass out. So they turn it down when you put it in spa mode. Over to the panel. Your heater. You won't have to touch pretty much anything on here ever. It's all controlled by this. All you'll want to ever do is make sure that the switch is on. If you don't see any lights, the switch on, off. Besides that, this is controlled automatically through this. This will adjust your temperature. This will do everything you need to do. I'm sure you've seen it run. Have you seen it run?
Oh, I've seen the fan move.
Okay, yeah, that's all it is. So we just let people know how they can know. If for any reason you come out and it's supposed to be on and it's not on, you might have an issue. You'll either have to, you can check a breaker for it, as it will have its own here, which is the most common issue. The breaker will be tripped into the middle.
Is it supposed to be running all the time? I don't know if it's...
No. So let me show. So this here will show you what the actual pool temperature is and what it would be set to. 86, your goal. And then here's your air. So if you hit menu, the first time we'll just wake it up. Second time we'll take you into your menu. You can scroll down to heat, select. You have your options for your pool and your spa. So for the pool, the reason it's on is set to off. You don't want to heat it. Now in the winter, all you're going to do is you pick whatever temperature you want, 86. Go down here, click it to on, to heater. It'll click right on. You can adjust the temperature here as well. Click select, off, right on. Spa, It is set to off as well. The temperature is set to 100. We can set that to on, to heater. And then you're gonna press back. And now, whenever you hit valve, which is like hitting spa mode on your phone, when it goes to spa mode, it'll automatically kick on, but it'll only kick on when you turn the spa on. Let's see. As you heard, it also adjusts the speed of the pump. When you put it in spa mode, it'll ramp up for you. Your lights, all of that can be controlled from here as well. If for any reason you don't have a phone, somebody else is here, you know, you can control it from in here. You can change all the colors to whatever you want. You can sync them, turn them all on, turn them all off.
Does this stop working at a certain temperature? Like, or can you have it even if it's sort of like frosty? Would it still work? Or
So I believe they say, so like a lot of these are built with heat mandates to be in Florida to be able to work in the heat. So it is, they're not supposed to be run, I believe they say on these heaters, under 60 degrees. That happens, the pipes get 60, it heats up, it cracks the pipes, it expands stuff inside. That being said, if you run it before it, say you know you're gonna have a really cold weekend, keep it running, just leave it running, leave your pool at 80, it's not gonna hurt anything because nothing's ever gonna get down that cold. We rarely have to mess with that much in Florida.
And if you like the pool's at 86 degrees, is it okay to sort of set it at that and just like leave it? Would it come on?
Absolutely. That's what they're made to do, because they'll vary about 2 degrees. It'll come on, and if you have it hit to 86, it'll come on at 86. It might heat to 87, but then it'll let it fall to 84. And, you know, so it doesn't click on every 2 minutes, on, off, on, off, on, off. With gas heaters, sometimes it does, and it kind of scares people more, because a gas heater, every time it ignites, you smell propane. So they're just constantly, all day, smelling propane as it's kicking on, kicking off. But I even tell some people, even if you're not going to use it, don't, for the economics of it, don't let your pool get all the way down to, you know, 68 degrees. You know, just keep it at like a nice 74. That way, if you do have to go to heat it, you only have to heat it 10 degrees instead of trying to heat it 20 or plus degrees. It'll take twice as long.
So even if we don't use it every day, it's best to have it set at 86 and let it just...
Well, you don't necessarily have to set it there. You can set it lower, you know, 80, something. During the summer, it's going to stay that most of the time anyways. This is probably never going to kick on, but that keeps it to where if we do get a bunch of rain, sometimes it'll get colder, and then all of a sudden we have a cold front. And you know how it is in Florida. All of a sudden we'll wake up into 65, and you go to heat it, well, it's going to take 12 hours to heat it from 65 to 85. Whereas if you kept it in between, you know, 75 is a pretty good place to keep it. It won't ever kick on. During the summer, it's probably never going to kick on until you turn it up. And I can go ahead and set that for you if that's something. So for pool, and you can adjust this from your phone, of course, as well. So we'll set it to on. That way, anytime the weather, anything goes below 75 is pretty cold. I mean, springs are 72, and we know how cold those are. So this is just to keep it from falling way far down, you know, into the 60s, because it will start to cause problems with other stuff. The O-rings will start to freeze up and stuff like that. And the chlorine is more effective, so you'll end up with high chlorine because it's not burning off doing the salt cell. So also in the winter, just like you turn up the salt cell, you can turn it down in the winter. When it's cold, whether you're not using it, anything like that, just colder temperature, you're going to use a lot less. And that way it just doesn't have high levels, because the salt cell does not read the level of the chlorine. So it'll just keep pumping it in there no matter how much is in there if you leave it on high. Everything here can be controlled remotely at any time. And we tell people that for some reason your phone's not working, you're not connected on the Wi-Fi, you can't get the lights to go off, you can always come out here and click them and they'll come off. It's a direct connection. One last thing here, how to check your salt. Menu. Scroll all the way down to diagnostics, and then chlorinator, and it will show you what your salt reading is. 2,900 here. Anything between 27 and 33 is where you want to keep it. Once it goes under 27, you're going to want to add it. If it's above 33, you're going to want to drain it. It's going to fluctuate. It was at 3,000 the other day when I was here. It rained. That'll bring it down so that it's built in enough at 3,000 that no rain should take it below 2,700, and no amount of evaporation without rain should take it over 3,300.
Okay, so 27 to 33 is where you want to keep it.
They used to have it in here. It is in all your manuals. It will tell you that I believe they stopped printing it on here.
seen it somewhere.
It is.
I'll have to get a
inside all
Sharpie
of
to
your
write that on there.
manuals. I can get one for you, and we can put it right here.
Okay.
So that's no problem. This is mostly just electrical stuff that will hardly ever be used. You are going to lose water. That's one thing I tell people, to evaporation.
Right.
In summer, its average is about 2 inches a week. Make sure you keep an eye on it, fill it up with water. Salt does not ever displace. As it builds chlorine, it doesn't go anywhere. So as long as you don't, the only time you'll lose it is when you drain water out of the pool. So as long as you do that, we have people that have had their pools 2-3 years and never put a bag of salt in it. It's just stayed the whole time. As it evaporates, it will go up. The chlorine will, or the salt will go higher, and as it rains, it'll dilute it back and keep it at a level. If it does go low, you can get a salt again at your Lowe's, your Home Depot, your Ace, any pool store. Make sure you ask for pool salt, because they also have solar salt, which is a little bit different. The salt, when you do it, when it goes below 27 pool here, you're going to want to add a whole bag.
You just dump it in the pool.
Right in the pool, brush it in immediately.
Okay.
And let it sit. It can be swam in right away. It's food grade salt. It won't hurt you. You can dump it in while people are swimming. It won't hurt anything. Okay. And I just tell people that because sometimes they're like, oh, I added salt, and they added a cup. They had no idea how much to add. You know, so a whole bag, 40 pounds, it seems like a lot.
40 pounds is a bag?
A bag.
Okay.
So we put 6 bags in here to start with, 240 pounds. The rest of it, I think that we're about done with this. This is your antenna for your Screen Logic. For any reason it's not working, you're not able to connect. If you come out here, there's 2 little screws. This will pop off. It has a little reset button. You can set it. It'll resync. Very easy on that. When your heater's on, you'll see it light up here at heater. These aren't used. These are only if you had 8. Well, that one is the 4th one, but these ones don't have anything on them, so that you can click on nothing. Now, you can always add other things if you ever want to control things by your pool. Like a lot of people control their backyard landscape lights by the pool. It can always be added to here, and then you can control it through your Screen Logic app.
Well, damn, I wish I would have known that for the pool lights we just put in today.
We do a lot of those.
Damn.
So it's really hard with pool lights because those are not, we can't pass a building inspection with those lights. You can't have any lights within 6 feet of the pool to pass a building inspection.
Okay.
So that's why they lean away from it. Now they have, unless they're waterproof lights. Pentair makes them. What I was telling you about, if you guys are ever interested in those, they have little color changing. They can mount anywhere. They sync with your pool. They're waterproof. They're awesome landscape lights. But yeah, just so people know, when you have this, if you get landscape lights, they can run a little thing here. Just so you know, let your electricians know, you can run anything off it pretty much. You can run, people have their ceiling fans outside on their lanai, run on them, and you can even set them to a thermostat to where when it goes over 85 degrees, your fans automatically come on and shut off when it goes under that at night. Yeah, there's some pretty neat features built in that it can do. So that should be everything here. These are an extra set of little breakers for any reason. Just sometimes stuff's not really, oh, my salt cell doesn't work. There's no lights on it. Most of the time it's this. It's just from a storm. They're doing their job, protecting it.
Okay, so they're all supposed to be up. So
those are on.
If they're tripped, they'll be down.
It will red. I believe when it trips, the other side of it's red, so you will see it.
Oh, okay.
And they're labeled IntelliChlor, your relays, your electronics. So if for some reason your pump's running, but there's nothing here, that breaker there can be reset. And then your valves. Oh, it won't go into spawn mode when I push the button. There's a little one for it.
Okay, so I'm trying. Okay, electronics. I get these. These are the breakers.
Yep. So these are going to go to your relays. Your relays are all in here. There's 8 of them. That's what turns each one of these things on.
Okay.
Your IntelliChlor is your salt cell. Your valves are those actuators that turn the bubbler and the spa on.
Okay.
And then your electronics is going to be this.
Okay. All right.
Your motherboard here.
I gotcha.
Your personality kit is what they actually call it.
Oh, test. I was just wondering.
Yeah, you'll have your separate ones for your lights. So for some reason your lights aren't working, come out here. This one may be tripped. That's the most common thing, especially if they're both not working. It's we have these IntelliBrights that last, some of them last 5, 6, 7, 10 years. If both of them aren't working, it's very unlikely that they both went out, and it's more than likely just this. Okay. We have a lot of thunderstorms in Florida. It happens.
Now, I have the whole house breaker on the main board here. Is that hooked up to that?
I will show you. Over here on this side, there will be just one that gives power to everything. So if they ever need to turn power off to that, emergency, anything, right here, flip that off, it'll turn everything off, the heater, the pump, the panel, and everything attached to it. Good to know. It's a little bit tough when they paint them. to get them all the way. So as far as the equipment, that's about it. Do you guys have any questions on that?